Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into a word that, let's be honest, most of us have learned to fear in the gym: muscle tension. But what if I told you that tension isn't the enemy you think it is? Let's get into it. So this is really the big question we're going to unpack. Is it a friend or a foe? Because it turns out muscle tension has two completely different sides. And you know what? Understanding that difference is the secret to unlocking better performance and, just as importantly, avoiding injury. All right, so first things first, we're going to have to completely rethink what muscle tension even means. We're about to challenge that common belief that it's just this bad thing that we need to get rid of at all costs, right? I mean, you feel tight or tense, and what's your first instinct? Stretch it out, get a massage, grab that foam roller. We're conditioned to see it as a problem to be solved, almost like a sign we did something wrong. But believe me, that is only half the story. So to really understand this, we've got to get on the same page about what's physically happening inside our bodies. Let's strip away all the gym talk for a second. What is muscle tension from a purely scientific point of view? That's it. That's the definition. At its absolute core, tension is just a reaction. It's the force your muscle creates to fight back against another force that's trying to stretch it. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just physics happening inside you. Let's break that down even simpler. It's a three-step process. First, anything, tries to lengthen your muscle. Second, your muscle doesn't like that, so it fires up and contracts to pull back. And third, that act of pulling back, that resistance, that is tension. Simple as that. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. That stretching force can come from two places. It can be internal, like when your quad contracts and pulls on your hamstring, stretching it. Or it can be external, like gravity yanking a heavy dumbbell down and stretching your bicep during a curl. Either way, the muscle's response is the same: create tension. Okay, so if tension is just this neutral reaction force, how on earth can it be a good thing? Well, it turns out that this good tension is actually the bedrock of all strength and power. Let's see how. This right here is the whole game. Being a great athlete isn't just about having big muscles. It's about how quickly your muscles can generate that tension, how fast they can resist a stretch. That's power, in a nutshell. And you see this productive tension everywhere. Think about it: exploding out of the blocks for a sprint, jumping up to grab a rebound, pressing a heavy barbell off your chest. Every single one of these powerful, dynamic movements depends on your muscles generating a massive amount of tension in a split second. So if tension is so critical for being strong and athletic, where did it get such a bad rap? Well, let's flip the coin and look at how this totally necessary force becomes the problem we all know and, frankly, hate. The problem shows up when we ask a muscle to do more than it's actually capable of handling. When a force tries to stretch it faster or further than it's prepared for, the muscle's response flips from productive to, well, protective, and that can be destructive. And this slide is the core of this whole explainer. Just look at the difference. Productive tension fights an external force during a lift, but pathological tension, that's when the muscle starts fighting its own ability to stretch. One enables power, the other limits it. One builds you up, the other actually breaks you down. Productive tension is gone after the set. Pathological tension is that lingering soreness and tightness that sticks around for days. When you push a muscle past its capacity, you're not just making it tired, you're causing real structural damage to the muscle fibers. This is what leads to that awful tightness. It ruins the muscle's natural springiness. And here's the kicker: it ultimately makes you weaker, not stronger. You know, the source material for this explainer sums it up perfectly with this quote: when you're dealing with that bad pathological tension, your performance tanks. Your muscles literally cannot do their job as well as they normally could. So, what's the solution? What do we do with this info? Well, the answer isn't to run away from tension, not at all. The answer is to get better at handling it. Let's talk about how to train for better, more productive tension. This is the huge mental shift we all need to make. Stop thinking about eliminating tension, start thinking about increasing your body's capacity for it. The real goal is to build muscles that can handle more stress at faster speeds without breaking down into that pathological state. Okay, so how do we actually apply this? Your training really needs to cover two main things. First, You've got to teach your muscles to generate that good tension at all kinds of speeds. That means mixing in slow, controlled lifts like a heavy squat with fast, explosive stuff like box jumps. Second, you absolutely need a plan to get your range of motion back after a workout. This isn't just about feeling less sore, it's about making sure the muscle is healthy and ready for the next challenge. And that really brings us to this final thought. I want you to take a hard look at your own training. Are you working to strategically build your capacity for productive tension, which leads to real, measurable strength? Or are you just chasing that feeling of being sore, which might actually be a red flag that you're creating the very bad tension that's holding you back? Something to think about.